I regret moving alone into this apartment. I recently moved into a small, old apartment in a quiet town. The rent was cheap, and the place had a certain charm, if you ignored the creaky floors and the occasional draft. I didn't mind. It was just me and my cat, Luna. But soon, I realized something was off. It started with the whispers. At first, I thought it was the neighbors, muffled through the thin walls. But the whispers weren't coming from the walls. They were coming from the shadows. Late at night, as I lay in bed, I'd hear them, soft, unintelligible murmurs that seemed to float from the dark corners of the room. I couldn't make out what they were saying, but they filled me with a sense of dread. Luna noticed it too. She'd sit and stare at the shadows, her fur bristling, her eyes wide. Sometimes, she'd hiss or bolt from the room, terrified of something I couldn't see. It unnerved me, but I tried to brush it off. Maybe the place was just old and creaky, and Luna was reacting to that. One night, the whispers grew louder. They filled the room, circling me like a swarm of invisible insects. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The air felt thick with something dark and menacing. I sat up in bed, my heart pounding, and flicked on the light. The whispers stopped, but the feeling of being watched didn't go away. I began to dread nighttime. The whispers became more frequent, more insistent. They seemed to be calling my name, urging me to listen. I started losing sleep, too afraid to close my eyes. Every time I did, I felt like something was standing over me, waiting for the moment I drifted off. Then, one night, it escalated. I was lying in bed, wide awake, when I saw it, a shadow, darker than the others, moving on its own. It slid across the wall, inching closer to my bed. My heart raced as it stretched toward me, a black, formless mass that seemed to pulse with malevolence. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. The shadow loomed over me, and for the first time, I understood the whispers. They weren't just noises. They were voices, countless, tortured voices, all begging for help, warning me to leave. But it was too late. The shadow engulfed me, wrapping around me like a suffocating blanket. I felt cold, so cold, and the whispers became screams, echoing in my head until I thought I would go mad. And then, just as suddenly as it started, it stopped. I woke up the next morning, drenched in sweat, gasping for air. The apartment was silent, but I knew I wasn't alone. The shadows were still there, lurking, watching, waiting. I packed my things that day and moved out, leaving the apartment behind. But the whispers, they followed me. No matter where I go, I can still hear them, growing louder every night. And now, I'm afraid that one day, the shadows will find me again.